All righty, guys, let's keep the momentum going. Now that we've sort of narrowed in and you can talk the talk, you understand a little bit of a neighborhood, you understand a little bit more of what you want, you definitely know what you can afford. Are you feeling like a real estate investor now? Okay, good, because now we've got to reach out and talk to other people, and you got to wear that real estate investor coat, okay? With this confidence that you have, this knowledge that you've earned. It could be misplaced, it could be completely naive and ignorant, but that's how it goes. You do a little bit of research, you go talk to people, reach out to people, network, learn a little bit more, and you might learn that you're on the right path or that you need to course correct. But that is what we're going to cover today is reaching out to people, introducing yourself as an investor. Now that you've got the knowledge to talk about what you're interested in and what you're looking at. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So I call this finding your 3 of 3. Okay. We're going to reach out. We need to find your 3 agents that you're going to use and the 3 property managers you're going to use and the 3 lenders you're going to use. And no, you're not going to have 3 agents on every deal. You're not going to have 3 property managers on every deal or 3 lenders, but you want to network and have a top 3 and always be cultivating these relationships. And it's completely normal. You put someone in your top 3, you use them and it goes sideways and you're like, okay, I've learned, and you take them off the list, or you give them an opportunity to improve themselves. And if they don't improve themselves, then definitely they're off the list. But you should always have a top 3 of these. And I'm going to walk you through how to have these conversations, how to build your team and what that looks like and why it's so important. So let's start with the agents here. And if you're doing your agent hunting, here's the thing. I'm a real estate agent. Okay. I work with a lot of investors. I, over a phone, don't want to teach a new client how to real estate invest, right? I don't want to do that because it's not a good use of my time, because I have books, right? I've got podcasts. I've got these courses that I'll say, hey, go learn how to real estate invest, know what to ask, know what your budget is, and then call me so then I can help you. Because what you're calling me for is to bring you properties or negotiate on a property or to talk you out of a neighborhood or something because I have insider info that it's now going to be a sewage plant coming in there or something like that. So that is what you want a realtor for. You don't want a realtor to teach you real estate investing, but you would love, love, love to have a real estate agent that is also an investor. And then they sort of think like an investor. They think like you. They look at properties through a different lens. They look at a property not like, oh, what family should live here? It's, wow, how can I squeeze an extra $50 out of this property, right? How do I make a little bit more money? That is why you want an investor-minded client, and you'll click right away if an investor talks to another investor-minded agent. It's just so much easier. And a real estate agent is the same cost to you as a buyer. It costs you nothing. A seller pays for both sides of a transaction to both agents. So it costs you nothing. You could use any agent under the sun, but you might as well use one that is an investor themselves so that they can kind of guide you and have some deal flow, and you guys can nerd out on real estate investing, which is my favorite thing to do. They want to know, agents want to know you're serious. I've been down this path many, many times. Hey, Alan, I'm looking for XYZ, and this is my budget. If you ever come across it, send it to me. And I send it to them. And they'll say, oh, this is not what I'm looking for. And I said, you specifically told me this is what you wanted. So let me know, what you want, right? Now, I don't get upset the first time, but if I do that 3 times, 4 times, and they're like, no, this is not what I'm looking for, then I'm like, okay, I need updated information. I don't think you're serious. Or, I've had a client who's like, I want a 10-unit apartment building on this street. And I sent it to them and they're like, no, I'm not ready to buy. Right. And it's like, okay, well, I found it for you. And then of course, 2 years later, they're like, hey, okay, I'm ready to buy. Is that property still available? They're like, no, it's not. So I want to know that you're serious. I know that you can move quickly and that you also take my advice. And what that means is you don't have to do all my advice. But if I say, hey, in this neighborhood, this property type, I really recommend that you get this pre-approval from this mortgage, broker. or this local community bank or whatever it is, because they are the only ones that will fund this property because of whatever reason, like it's in bad shape or anything like that. And the response is, nah, I know the banker at my bank, so I'm just going to use my bank. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to send you any deals because I already gone down that path in this neighborhood, in these property types. And the other agents on the other side, they're not going to accept Chase Bank or Quicken Mortgage on this property. So you're already not taking my advice. I am the local expert here, right? The agent that you're talking to is the local expert there. They're all done business. They all do business differently. And you really need to take their advice. So if you want to work with an investor-minded agent, just know these things, that they have to know that you know a little bit, enough to get in trouble. That's fine. Like the fact that you've taken this course, you know more than most people who are calling me up for the first time saying, hey, you know what? I think I want to leave my day job and I want to buy real estate. And it's like, all right, have you ever read a book about real estate investing? Have you ever listened to podcasts? No. I don't have time to teach you over the phone. So, but if you call, hey, I've taken the House Money Media course on real estate investing. I've read these books. This is what I found on Zillow. I'm looking at this neighborhood at this price point. It's looking like its price per square foot is this, or rent is that. Oh my God, I just would feel so good if the client had that knowledge before they reached out to me. So you are at that stage now. You can have those serious conversations with an agent. You're proven that you don't have to teach them from scratch. And then whatever they say, go from there. They may say, you know what, look for, homes in these zip codes. Are you open to this or that? And that's just what you got to do. You just want these are your team members. You have to trust them. They have to trust you. It's an equal balance, and they got to trust that they're going to follow through, that they find you a deal that you're ready to buy it. Another thing to know is agents want to grow with you. I tell my clients all the time, if I make you $1 million real estate investor, I make myself $1 million real estate agent, right? Because investors are great clients in that they are going to buy, hopefully one a year, two a year, one every 6 months, right? I'm going to help grow your career. I'm going to help make you that expert. And then at some point, you're going to want to sell these and buy bigger and bigger properties. That's a great relationship to have. Now, I said, why do you want 3 agents though? Because the agents are going to have different levels of expertise. They're going to have different deal flow. They're going to have different off-market opportunities. I would probably have your main one, but it's good to build relationships with 3 and just say, hey, I'm looking in this neighborhood. Hey, I'm looking in this neighborhood. I'm looking in this neighborhood. To all 3, check in with them every 3 months, 6 months. Let them know that you're still serious. You're still looking for this, or let them know if your buy box has changed. And you just have to build that relationship with 3 agents, because agents will move, right? Or get out of the business, and you don't want to have to start over from scratch. So always be cultivating those 3 relationships and go from there. Now let's talk about property management hunting, PM hunting. This is just as important, finding 3 property managers. Typically, property managers have an area or a niche. So you have to figure out what that niche is, right? And that niche could be, hey, we only work east side of town. We only work with low income tenants, or we don't work with low income tenants, whatever it may be. You have to reach out and understand the niches of different property management companies. It's also good to have multiple ones. So if yours is poor or it's not going great, you can switch it to another one. You've already built a relationship. You already know sort of, that this is my backup if it doesn't work out, because I want you to make those decisions quickly, because just sitting on a bad PM because you have no other options, that's not a means to success. You've got to have a backup, a roster, if you will, of people you can pull off the bench and swap them in and out. And so you really want to do excellent property management hunting at this stage as well. Another thing, which is kind of funny and counterintuitive, negative online reviews for property management companies can actually be a good thing. You don't just go by the star, actually read the ratings. Because you think about it, say one landlord has a 20-unit apartment building, right? That gives an opportunity for one owner to leave a review, who's really the reviews you care about. And typically landlords aren't reviewing their property management companies that often. However, the 20 tenants, they love commenting and talking about the property management companies. And a lot of those comments are 1 star. They wouldn't let me break the lease. 1 star. They kicked me out because I had too many people living there. 1 star. They wouldn't let me have 7 pit bull dogs or whatever it may be, right? So this is great news. I'm reading all these 1 star reviews and I'm like, this is the property manager that I want. Like, sure, have 1 pit bull. I have a pit bull. I have 2. But like, if we agree that you can have 2 and you have 7, I want to kick you out, right? I want my property manager to actually follow through on the terms of the lease. And you can kind of read through the negative reviews to find out if they're actually doing what you want them to be doing. Now, PMs, their clientele are investors. And so all they want to do is network with investors. And the way a property management company grows their business is finding more real estate investors. So they will be happy for you to reach out and introduce yourself. This is very, very important. So don't be afraid to be in their network and say, this is what I'm looking for. Because what also happens is they don't want investors to leave their network. So if they have a client that says, hey, I'm moving, I'm getting out of the business, I want to sell my property, they're going to tell their property manager first. And the property manager is going to say, oh, I know 10 other real estate investors who will buy this from you. Let's just keep it in-house. So you want to start building these relationships with property managers as well. Here is how property managers are paid. 10% typically, this is standard. Obviously, everything's negotiable. Standard is any income the property makes, the property manager takes off 10%, and then they give you the rest, right? And so that rest should cover the budget of the repairs and the vacancies and cash flow and everything like that. Here's the thing. They really don't want to just have 1 client and 1 door. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of upfront work for 1 property. Sure, they got to start there with clients, but when you grow and you buy door number 2, 3, 4, typically when you get to about 10, you're going to be a big fish for that entire company. And I got a portfolio that once I started getting 10, 15, 20 doors all in the same area, I had the 3 property managers on my list bidding for my services because they now will take 6% of my income instead of 10%. I got them to bid each other down because not only by moving 10 properties, 15 properties, 20 properties over, would I be basically swinging the market of these property managers. I would make the number 1 property manager into number 2 by moving enough properties over that they really want my business. So this is a great thing to understand your PM's niche and then stay investing within that PM's niche. Rather than having 3 different property managers manage 3 different properties across town, you can really scale down your expenses if you can kind of put all your properties under 1 property manager. And that can only happen if you're within their niche, their service area, their price point, their expertise, and then they can help you grow and you can help them grow. And this is all about team building. You're growing the lenders, the property managers, and the agents. So let's talk about lenders now. So mortgage lenders also have a niche. Many of them love the single family or the multifamily or the fixer uppers or, low income, Section 8 properties. So you got to understand that the lenders have niches. Also understand that lenders' products switch from time to time. Right. So based on their balancing books and the economy, hey, now we do an investment mortgage that's 10% down. Now it's 25% down 6 months later. So you always want to be kind of talking to them. What are your products now? Because they change often. Many, many times you're going to get the best rates from a community bank or a credit union that's local to that town, because who else wants that town to succeed and grow and be prosperous? The local banks. So they are usually more willing, more flexible to help renovate or help investors invest in their town because it helps not only them just give a loan, but they know it's growing their city and their approval process is a little bit easier. Sometimes you have to pay a little bit higher interest rate, sure, but just build these relationships early, because what I found, in small towns, the local property manager went to high school with the local community bank banker who went to high school with the top realtor in town, and they're all buddies and they've taken over the whole town, and you can just plug into the good old boy network there, and they're happy to have you in your service and grow themselves and grow you as well. So you want to aim to have the contact of a local banker, a national mortgage broker, which we talked about in an earlier class, is always a good first step, and the first step to get your pre-approval from, and a hard money or a commercial lender. The difference being here, a commercial lender will only lend to LLCs and businesses. So you may have to start an LLC, but it's good to, that day will come, and you might as well start talking to lenders about that. And hard money is basically just, they're not a brick and mortar company. They're just private investors who will lend you short-term money as well. And you can just Google hard money lenders or join our Discord community to ask for hard money commercial lenders or national mortgage brokers that we recommend, and talk to other investors as well. So team building, this is what you do. Post on the online groups and our Discord. So if this is the first time you're hearing about it, we do have a community through our Discord. If you've taken this course, you're already plugged into it. If otherwise, you can just join the Discord, and there's free sections and there's tiered, and you can talk to other real estate investors, but also go back to those Facebook groups that we talked about, the next door apps, Reddit, things like that, Twitter. You'll find investors all the time. And you just lead with this, post on a forum or reach out to someone, DM someone. I'm a blank investor. That could be short-term rental, long-term rental, flipper, whatever your strategy is. I'm a long-term rental investor looking for properties in Louisiana, Shreveport, in the under $130,000. I'm looking for an agent that is also an investor in this area. Who do you recommend? Right? I showed you last class. These are what the forum posts. This is going to give you a bunch of recommendations here. You can also do the same. Hey, are there any full-time property managers or companies that you recommend in Shreveport? These are just conversation starters, and people will tell you to avoid certain people or to go for certain people. And this is where you just start building up your CRM, customer relationship management, your recommendation list, and just periodically post these questions across different areas and track the answers. Hey, I'm looking to expand my network of lenders. Is there a local bank that lends on this type of property, fixer-uppers, or move-in ready single-family homes under $500,000 within Atlanta that you've been happy with? It's just one simple question, and I promise you, everyone loves sharing their top agents, their top investors, their top property managers, their top lenders. They want to share their success with you. So take it and start taking notes. So in this class, you have this team building worksheet that I made for you. And this is a great way. So whenever you start asking these questions, I want you, hey, who's the agent that I recommend? Oh, Alan Corey. And then, I got Lauren Keene recommended to me from Reddit, right? You start filling these out. Oh, Alan Corey got recommended to me again by someone else, by a property manager this time, right? And you just start building out this list, and all of a sudden you're going to say, Joe Smith and Lauren and Alan. All right. Now, Lauren's not an agent, but if you do this, you're going to say, okay, wow, Alan has been recommended to me 3 times. I should probably put him on my list. Lauren's been recommended twice. That should be on my list. This is what you're just cultivating and collecting, curating names of agents, right? You do the same thing with property managers here, same with lenders, and then investor networking. And what we didn't really cover here, investor networking is just people that seem to be providing great value online. It could be social media, it could be in a forum. I ask these questions, the ones giving me answers, and these are helpful people that want nothing in return but to be helpful. So start networking with them and start building friendships and picking their brains. I got where I was by picking so many other investors' brains, so many agents' brains, so many property managers' brains and lenders. And you've got to start doing the same here as well. So this sheet is perfect for that. Write in everything that you're learning, people you're meeting, people you need to reach out to, and always have a top 3. And I've done this even with plumbers and electricians and things like that. If you have a property management company, they've got their own list of plumbers, electricians, and vendors. But if you're going to self-manage, then I would do this with your vendor list. Always have your top three, and don't be afraid to kick someone out if they, screwed you by not showing up on time or their quotes were crazy. It just gets easier and easier over time, and you'll find quickly. I always like to say rock stars hang out with rock stars. The best agents know the best lenders. The best lenders know the best property managers, because they're all got to the top by also finding the other partners that they need to get to the top. And you just need to leverage these people's network and get it in and start building your own network. And if they know that you're serious, well, it's going to go far for you. So back to team building. This is what else we've got to do. If you're still sort of stuck and you can't find the forums in your area, or they're not working for you and you're not getting the response that you want, here are some other options. Who was the last agent that sold the property that you like? And what I mean by that is, as you're looking at homes online and you got outbid or went too fast, or there's a home that sold 3 months ago because you're looking at comps, you can look up online on Zillow and Realtor, and who was the listing agent? Who was the buying agent? Reach out to them. Agents, they're all word of mouth. So they would love it if you reached out to them. Hey, it looks like you sold that property recently at 123 Main Street. Was that an investment property? Did an investor buy that? Or were you representing an investor? And yeah, okay. Oh, so you work with investors. Do you have any other properties similar to that? Okay. And then all of a sudden, you introduce yourself as an investor. They're going to say, yes. I've got other properties that's coming. Sure, let's stay in touch. Things like that. That's another way to sort of start building your team, is seeing what properties have sold and who represented the buyers and sellers. Listings that say professionally managed. You'll start seeing this now. And what that means is, well, there's an investment property manager managing it, right? It doesn't mean they're good or bad, but at least they are doing the job that you want. So just reach out to those agents. Even if you don't want that property, you can call and say, hey, who's the property manager managing this? Are they considered good in the area? And go from there. And quick sort of, litmus test of a property manager is they have to have some sort of property management software. It doesn't matter what it is, but if they're using Excel or some spreadsheet, or they're doing it in a Word doc, you don't want to use those folks. You want someone who's willing to pay the $200 a month or whatever for a robust property management system, because then they're taking it seriously and this is their full-time job. And ideally, it is a property manager that's doing this as their full-time job, and not an agent who's doing this on the side, because they're not going to have that network of vendors and that ability to act quickly or bring you other deal flows. Depending on your area, you might not have the choice, but if given the choice, you really want a professional property management company handling your properties. It's worth the extra money. You don't want to go cheap on property management, because you get what you pay for. And this is such a crucial team member for you. Now, here is a super cheat code: portfolio listing. So portfolio listings is basically properties that have more than one property. So, hey, you got to buy this entire package of properties, at my entire portfolio. I'm not just selling piecemeal one property at a time. I'm trying to sell it all together. The reason for that is, well, it's easier for me to 1031 it as a seller, which is a tax advantage. It's easier for me to get financed, believe it or not. Typically, it's easier to get financed for $1 million or more. If you're getting a commercial loan, a portfolio loan, you'll have to get a commercial loan, but they will prefer that you bring them 5 properties to get one mortgage across. It's a portfolio or a blanket mortgage where you get one mortgage. So it's actually easier to finance these things, and it's easier to sell them. It's easier to get property management when you have a portfolio. The goal should be build a portfolio within a niche that is your niche, within your agent's niche, your property manager's niche, and your lender's niche. That niche can easily be sold, and the value, you add an extra $100,000 house, the value actually goes up $110,000, because you have this package, this portfolio, and this is where the real gold is. And if you see someone selling a portfolio, that's the person you want to talk to, because they have the team in place. They've got a property manager in place for them to be this successful, to have grown this portfolio. They are going to know the lenders to talk to. They are going to be the investor that you want to be one day. So do whatever you can to meet these investors. I grew my portfolio quickly by finding these portfolio sellers, and typically they're 70, 80 years old. They've paid off all their properties. They've given, they're just done. Their kids don't want to inherit it, and they're willing to share their knowledge, and they love to talk to a young person excited about real estate. And I even got them to sell or finance it because I said, hey, I can't find a bank. I talked to all the local banks here but I want to buy your properties, and they don't have a mortgage. And then they become the mortgagee, and they're like, here you go, put 10% down and I'll give you a 30-year fixed mortgage for 5%, whatever you want to negotiate. It's wild, wild west, but bought many, many properties this way. And what's really cool is I cut it out of the last video because I didn't think you were ready for it. But when I was searching Shreveport, in that area, I found a portfolio for sale, and I want to show you that video now. So I'm going to cut to the older video that I did in the last class about what a portfolio sale looks like on Zillow and what that means and why I think it's gold. But this is a cheat code to the top, and I'm going to leave you with this. Do your homework, fill out that spreadsheet, make those connections, and check out this portfolio hunting video I made, because that is a great person you want to talk to. That agent who's representing that deal, that is the person you want to be. So reach out and start talking to them and just ask them how they did it. Who do they know? Who do they recommend? And you are on the fast track to getting your team built. Out of curiosity, I started looking at some of these other properties in Shreveport that I want to show you and what I stumbled upon and why this matters. And this actually affected how I grew this sort of situation by doing this same homework. So we were looking at multifamilies in this section right over here. I just clicked on houses to just see what else we could get. So there's a lot of houses here, but over here, I started looking just one section over, and there's this $43,000 house for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which seems like great, right? And it seems like for that cheap, what's the condition? So it's a similar condition. There are 2 ones that we see over here for an entire house. Probably it'll rent $500, maybe $700. Could buy 2 of these and get $1,400, or buy a duplex. So that's sort of what I was looking at here as 3 bedrooms, 2 baths for $43,000. But this is really, really what I want to talk about. This part here. This property is being sold in a package of 20 investment properties in the Shreveport area for $1 million. And so you can't even buy this individually, it's priced individually, but you have to buy the all package of 20. And so that's what I want to talk to you about. This is by grouping them together, you can sell them as a package much easier, and that's easier to get finance. It's really tough to get finance for 20 different homes, hire and pay for 20 different appraisals, get 20 different mortgages, put 20 different down payments. That's going to get really expensive. But this investor at one time collected 20 of these all in the same area, and it's actually added more value so that he can go sell the package to you. And so when I bought a 30 single family home portfolio, it was the exact same thing. This guy bought properties at this same price point. They're all fully tenanted. I bought them about $40,000 each. But it was easier to get financing. Actually, I couldn't get financing, and he knew no one could get financing. So he sold them to me for seller financing. So I bought 30. It was roughly 1.1 million, and I had to put 10% down. So $110,000 I bought with seller financing. He became the mortgagee. And I was just from hunting and pecking and searching properties like this. So this is what's great. You can either buy someone's properties who's already done this, or you got to do this yourself so that when you can keep it and do a cash out refi across all these properties rather than doing individual ones. It's just sort of another thought process. Like the more you narrow the scope, the more expert you can be and create a team, and then you can sell as a portfolio. The other reason is a 1031 exchange, which I'm not going to go into the deep dive of 1031, but it's a tax deferral program. And if he sells all these as a package, he can easily turn 20 or $1 million into one property that's $1 million. Maybe that's a 10-unit apartment complex or a 30-unit apartment complex. But if he has to sell them off individually, $50,000 at a time, then he's 1031ing them into $50,000 at a time. So it's actually benefiting the seller as well to package these together. You just have more options. I'm always going to want to give you options. So sort of collectively creating these options is the best thing that you can do.